Greetings everyone, and thanks for joining us on this paranormal pit stop. Tonight we'll be exploring a historic structure located off the corner of East Main and Spring Garden Streets out of Ephrata, Pennsylvania, which is recognized for formerly serving as the first hospital in the region. Affectionately referred to as the Haunted Hotel by a bulk of longtime locals due to purports of extreme paranormal activity experienced on site, are you sure you're ready to brave the history and ghosts of the Mountain Springs complex? Historically, in 1848, what was called the Königmacher Mansion was constructed on site under State Senator Joseph Königmacher. The estate would tote a natural mineral spring, and by 1860, Königmacher would expand the premises into a 400-room resort lodging called the Mountain Springs Hotel. Under the shrewd senator's ownership, the Mountain Springs would grow rapidly in popularity amongst both locals and tourists visiting from Philadelphia, New York, and Maryland, amongst other nearby states and communities, and it would even accommodate the likes of significant figures such as Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant, and James Buchanan Jr. Following the 1861 passing of Königmacher, his cherished hotel would see a number of new owners. However, lacking his guidance, its popularity would heavily diminish, until 1882 when it was purchased under the von Nida family, who would begin operating the site as a temperance hotel. While this operation would breathe life back into the establishment's old bones for a time, unfortunately by the 1900s, the building would become a safety concern, and would be forced to close its doors entirely. For decades, this should-be prestigious lodging would sit dormant and empty, until 1935 when it was purchased under spiritualist and medium Ethel Post Parish and her accompanying group Camp Silver Bell, after which the whole of the expanse would see a slew of renovations, modernizations, and refurbs, before its 1937 opening as the Stevens Memorial Hospital, which in 1940 would re-establish itself as the Ephrata Community Hospital instead. The Ephrata Community Hospital would remain in operation until 1949, when it was replaced by a newer hospital site, after which the property would return to use under Camp Silver Bell, with Ethel actually living on site until her passing in 1960. Sadly, following the passing of Post Parish, the former residence-turned-lodging-turned-hospital would fall into disrepair, and while it was honored on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982, in 1991 all of its original content was auctioned off, and in 2004 a good bulk of the old Mountain Springs Hotel campus was demolished entirely, with little more than a portion of what was the Königmacher Mansion left standing. Resulting from a major renovation through 2011, it would seem the Königmacher Mansion has been given a second chance, and it currently plays host to both office and suite space adjacent to the Hampton Inn and Applebee's. While these functions are a far stride from its glory days, the site continues to contribute to the community's economy in a positive, albeit much smaller manner. Quite classically, the whole of the Mountain Springs complex is rumored to harbor an assortment of ghostly manifestations, tied to various owners, staff, guests, doctors, and patients to its bounds in lives since past, some of whom actually died on site, and those frequenting the old campus have reported strange wafts of mist sighted floating through the halls, orbs and odd silhouettes captured in the backgrounds of photography and video, and objects sighted moving on their own, or entire rooms found inexplicably rearranged after periods of closure. Several informal investigations of the area have yielded high EMF levels, chilling EVPs, and extreme fluctuations on thermal grids, while others have told of doors opening and slamming shut on their own, of disembodied voices or the sounds of a baby crying, of eerie, shadowy figures that stalk the living, and of the unnerving feelings of being watched, of being followed, or of being touched or brushed up against by someone unseen. A range of full-bodied apparitions have been encountered around modern businesses held on site, and while only the original mansion remains, entities clad in uniforms or clothing suggestive of alternate eras are still commonly observed wandering the halls or even nearby landscapes, seemingly unaware of their surroundings entirely. A handful of reports detail visitors interacting with these spirits at great lengths, that is, until they either fade into thin air or walk directly through solid walls. Also reported across Mountain Springs grounds are instances of personal effects going missing or lights found turned on within securely locked rooms, spook lights viewed through windows after dark, and odd scratching noises heard from within the walls. Lastly, through her life, Ethel Post Parish would claim to follow the direction of the spirit of a native girl known as Silver Bell, who was even captured in several photographs, which Post Parish would readily show to any who doubted her. While these photographs and this phenomenon were eventually determined to be a giant giant hoax. It's now believed that the very real seances Ethel held in an attempt to reach her otherworldly guide may have awakened something else entirely, or even opened some form of portal, ensuring the Mountain Springs complex a future absolutely wrought with an entirely different type of visitor, being those that hail from the other side. Thanks for tuning in for this Paranormal Pit Stop. If you enjoyed hearing our histories and ghost stories, subscribe to our channel, like this upload, and share us with anyone you feel deserves a good scare. Pleasant dreams.